guys, welcome back to Avenged Media. If you're new here, my name is Nick. This is the Avenged HQ, and today we are doing a full car update on every single car in here. We've got ongoing projects for the 240, the 350Z, and the Legacy GT. So whether you're new here and just want to get a rundown of all my cars and what's been done to them, or you've been around for a long time and you're just looking for a status update on these ongoing projects, today's video is for you. Now, I do want to apologize. I know I missed a couple weeks, and I said I was going to be on regular content each week, and I'm kicking myself that I wasn't, but life happens. I went out of town on my anniversary, caught the Rona, was taken out for about a week, and just between other things, I missed a few weeks of videos. It is what it is. I'm sorry about that, but I mean it when I say we're getting back on track. I'm filming 3 videos this weekend so that we don't miss any more videos, and you guys have a new video on YouTube weekly. So if you're excited about that, let me know down in the comment section below. But let's go ahead and get started with today's video. So let's start with the 240 because it's right in front of me, and admittedly, this is probably the project that I'm most excited about right now, just because this is like a childhood dream come true. I've always wanted one of these cars, and it's going to be coming together a lot quicker than I originally anticipated, which is super, super exciting, and I can't wait to share more of this with you guys. But if you're new here, this is my 1998 Kouki S14. I bought this rolling shell a couple months ago and have been slowly working to restore the entire thing. We got new Kouki tails for it. These things are absolutely beautiful. And when I picked this up, this car had been basically sitting abandoned for a very long time. So it needed a lot of detailing. We detailed the exterior completely, did a full chemical and manual decontamination on this car before polishing the entire thing. And while we're definitely gonna paint the entire car, one, I wanted it just to look cleaner in the shop, and I was just curious to see what the paint looked like underneath. I am 99% sure that this is the original paint, which is pretty cool. Although we're not going to be keeping it, it's nice to know the car hasn't been resprayed a bunch of times. We then restored the interior of this car, and it needed a lot of work, so I replaced a good portion of the parts that were in this car. We were able to salvage the carpet by using an extractor with some of our Griot's Garage carpet and upholstery cleaner, and that's getting this car to where it is now. So the next thing we need to do with this car is fix the core support and the damage to the trunk. This car has some sort of damage to the core support that's pushing it in here. Fortunately, it didn't affect these bars on the side at all, and it didn't affect the frame rails. So we're gonna get this piece entirely replaced, and once that's replaced, then we can start fitting the engine which we got for the car, get the radiator in, all that stuff that we can't necessarily do while this damage is here. Now, on the subject of the motor, I did import an SR20 for this car. I found one with a spun bearing, and I figured since I wanted to rebuild the entire thing anyway, it was a better option to buy this motor, which was much cheaper than a lot of the other motors that are online right now at the $5,000 to $8,000 price point. And rather, I can use that $3,000 plus that I saved buying one with a spun bearing and put that towards the rebuild. So now on to the trunk. Fortunately, there's no damage to the rear in any way. The quarter panels are all perfect. But unfortunately, someone decided to jack up the spare tire well with a jack, and it split at the seam. So we're going to be replacing this entire metal piece here with one from a spare donor car that we have that has perfect sheet metal. Now, this is well above my skill set, so we're going to be having Epitome Auto Design do all the work on this car. He is a local guy that specializes in exactly this type of work and does far more elaborate jobs, and this one's going to be a walk in the park for him. So my plan is, once we get the core support fixed, we will then be working on the engine rebuild. Once the engine's rebuilt, we'll get it fitted into the car, get everything in here, and get the car actually running. That way I can decide if there's anything that needs to come out of the engine bay. Like I already know this battery tray is going to come out because we're going to have intercooler piping that comes down here, and we'll probably fit a smaller battery up here. So like we'll want to take that out before paint, and anything else that needs to be modified in here, I want that done before paint, so that this engine bay can stay as pristine as possible, and we'll go install the motor again once it's been painted and we know that motor is running and ready to go. And once that's done, the next thing we're gonna do is work on the underside of the car. At this point, I'm thinking I'm gonna sandblast the entire bottom and do a new undercoating on the bottom of the car so it's durable, protected from the elements, and it's gonna look perfect. And then from there, we'll fit all new suspension parts over it. Like I said, we're doing a grade A restoration here. That's the goal with this car. And then once we do the suspension, we'll be looking at paint for the exterior. I am going to keep, I think it's KO3 black. I've always wanted a black car, and I think this is definitely the car for it. I just love how these S14, particularly the Kouki with the more aggressive body style in the front, look in black, and it's just going to be perfect, trust me, you guys. Most of you probably know this car, but this is my 2005 Legacy GT Wagon. It's 5-speed manual. I've had this car for 10 years now, which is absolutely crazy. We've got a bunch of stuff coming up on this. if you want to see kind of the full build breakdown of the first phase of what I'm calling the full send wagon build, I'll link that up in the corner up here. Click that, and I did a full rundown of all the parts that we're going to be installing on this car. But I realized the other day that this car has been down since August when I took the brakes off this car. Took the brakes off to powder coat them. They're powder coated. I showed you guys them in the intro. They're over there. They look absolutely sick, and they're going to be great on the car. We're just waiting to dry ice blast the bottom of this car. I have the opportunity to dry ice blast this at Griot's Motors, and that's not a process that is super cheap or accessible to people, so I want to take the opportunity to do it, and it'll give us kind of a clean canvas to put all of the new suspension parts on the car. Got the wheels ready, they're all ceramic coated, they're ready to go. Like, we are so close to getting started on this build. And onto the 350Z. So you can see it's up on the lift. We've got a little bit of work we're gonna be doing to this car. This is kind of, for those of you who are new or maybe haven't seen a lot of videos on this car, this is a 2005 350Z, 6-speed manual, and this thing was built to be a drift car that I could drive to the track, but still enjoy on the street. So full interior, we've got the FDF Mantis kit, but not the Mega Mantis, because I would have pushed it out to where we couldn't have had stock fenders. Totally stock motor, but a bunch of different modifications like oil cooler, power steering cooler, coolant reservoir, things to make this car more reliable on the track, in addition to a full suspension overhaul on this thing. Got bride seats in there, harnesses, harness bar. It's an awesome car. We did just go drifting with this like a couple weeks ago, and I'm totally hooked. Like, I was really debating whether or not I should sell this car, and after taking out drifting once, it's absolutely not going anywhere. But we do need to get it ready for drifting. So the first thing on that list is a full fluid change. And I haven't talked too much about this yet, but Motul is now a sponsor of the channel. We'll be talking more about that in this video, but I've got every single fluid here, from oil to, this is transmission and diff fluid, brake fluid, stuff for power steering. We've got new oil filters, magnetic drain plug. So we're gonna give this car the works here. That's one of the videos that I'm filming this weekend, so you can look forward to that. Now the next thing, got a new shift knob and a shift extender, shift boot, all that to kind of freshen up the interior. I'll show you guys in there real quick why I did this. So for those of you who maybe haven't seen the interior on this car, this is the interior. We did this early on in this build, but I wanted to get the shifter a little bit higher up, closer to the steering wheel, just so it's easier to shift while on track and not having to take my hand off the wheel for too long of a period. And the Street Faction shift knob served its purpose, but this car has like an all black interior kind of theme to it. So I think what we got for in here is going to be a really nice upgrade. Now, I'm not sure how many of you guys even know about this thing, but this is my 1974 Ford Bronco. It's a 302 automatic, and this thing is an absolute blast. My grandpa bought this from the first owner in '76 and had it until he passed away, and now I have gotten to carry on its legacy, and this thing is just so much fun. I did a couple videos with this, but I'd love to hear if you guys would like to see more of the Bronco. It's just such an iconic truck. These things are just so cool looking, and like everywhere I drive it, everyone knows what it is and gets really excited when they see it. I think it'd be awesome to take the top off this summer and do just some driving videos with this thing. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Should we take this thing on some driving videos this summer? All right, I think it's time we test fit these guys on the 240. So these are a somewhat rare wheel from NISMO, and they're rare because they're not gonna be making more of them from what I've been told. They engraved the NISMO on the face of the spoke, and apparently they were having a bunch of issues with blemed wheels. So there won't be a ton more of these. They were a limited run, and I just want to grab a set for them because I think they're gonna look awesome on the 240. I really went back and forth what color I should put on here, given that the car was gonna be black. These wheels are black. I'll show you guys them here in a second. I think ultimately I do want to have a set of bronze wheels as well that we can rotate back and forth between, but I couldn't miss out on getting these wheels for the car. So these wheels are a NISMO Clubsport 57 CR in an 18 by 9.5 plus 12. So pretty aggressive wheel fitment for the 240. The goal here is to be running like a 245 tire with a fairly meaty look and just really fill out these fenders. I've seen a couple different cars with this exact like wheel size on it and thought it looks absolutely perfect. And like I said, I just love the fact that these are a NISMO wheel. I feel like it's the perfect wheel for this build that we're doing here, that I really want kind of an OEM plus build. These are just gonna be perfect, but I wanna see them on the car. We'll probably just test fit one on the rear because the front fenders aren't on right now, so it's not gonna give us a good idea of what it's gonna look like. But let's go ahead and throw this on the rear end. And how could I forget? We picked up a set of the NISMO open-ended lug nuts as well, because for the NISMO wheels, you gotta have NISMO lugs. Now, I've never ran an open lug nut style like that, but they had them, and I just had to have them as well, because that is pretty cool. So we'll see how it looks. Test fit one of these on the wheel as well. That is truly insane how good that looks on the car. Granted, it's got rusty brakes and small brake calipers on it, but it's gonna have a NISMO silver big brake kit behind it that's gonna really fill those out nicely and give it a little bit of contrast that I was looking for. But just seeing these wheels on the car is really doing something for me. I can totally see, I see the end result. Like each little piece that we add, like I can see the vision a little clearer, but these are just stupid nice, and I'm really, really glad that I picked up a set before they were gone. All right, so on Instagram a couple weeks ago, before I got sick, I posted a question up asking people to submit questions for a Q&A, so we are gonna answer those questions here now. First question, do you want another Kouki S14? Yes, absolutely. When I was thinking about selling this car, I actually offered a few people with Kouki S14s, like running ones, to trade this for it, thinking I could do like a mild and a wild build with a new Kouki and the one I already had. Obviously, after drifting, I decided to keep this car, so it won't get traded for one, but I would love to have more S14s down the road. Daniel says, make a video of why car guys can't seem to finish one project at a time. Touche. 2J Bomb asks, will you be doing more engine-related stuff on your Legacy GT? Yes, I would love to. That car has about 140,000 miles on it. While I've maintained it super well, I am fully prepared that it's probably going to need an engine rebuild at some point in the not so distant future, and I would love to do like a whole built bottom end with an IAG block, a bigger turbo, probably like a rotated setup, and get like 400 horsepower out of that car. I think 400 horsepower in like an all-wheel drive chassis would just be way too fun. So that's the ultimate goal. I think I talked about it in a previous video, but I've kind of coined the next phase of the Legacy GT build the full send wagon. So the first phase, we're doing suspension. That's gonna be coming up here on the channel probably within the next month. Once the suspension is done, I was kind of debating whether to do engine or exterior first. Probably exterior, get the exterior dialed in and just continue to run this engine as it is with the 309 or so horsepower that it has to the wheels currently. And then do the engine last and get it just fully dialed in with some serious horsepower. Blueberry Legacy GT Wagon, which is my friend Nathan, he asked, when will the Daily Legacy be getting some spotlight? It's a good question. I just did a little bit of work on that car. It needed new hubs, a new axle, had to replace a battery. If you guys want to see anything with the Daily Wagon, let me know. I just didn't think anyone would care to see a 2.5i non-turbo wagon, but happy to show you guys more of that. It was actually like my first car. I had that car before I got the Legacy GT, and then I found out there was a turbocharged 5-speed manual version of that car, and sold that car to my parents to buy the Legacy GT. Dylan asked, which one is coming on Northwest Express Rally? Definitely the Legacy GT. That's like, of the cars I have, the best for the rallies. One day I would like to take the 240 on a rally. I think that would be super fun once it's all up and running. And then we had a question on YouTube from Joel Parker. He said, where's the griot's wall? That is one of the modifications to the garage that I want to do this spring. I've got a wall kind of just behind the camera over here that's gonna be perfect to put a bunch of griots, racks, and showcase all the products and make them easy to grab while we're detailing a car kind of in this area over here. All right, Gavin Janadu asked, do you plan to buy another car after the S14 is done? That largely depends on how much money I have. So hopefully the channel continues to do well. I appreciate when you guys share videos, give videos likes, and just show support, because I really do want to see this thing grow. I'd love to own more cars. There's a lot of cars on my bucket list. But the next one that I'd like to buy is a R32 in the factory red. I forget which color it is, but that is like one of my all-time favorite colors. So an R32 GTR is hopefully the next car I'll add to the fleet. Brian's Crazy World asked, what is your favorite thing about living in Seattle? Is the car scene any good? I've always liked Seattle because it has like all 4 seasons and you can very quickly get to the ocean or the mountains. The desert's just over the mountains. There's a lot of good stuff around Seattle, and the food's pretty good. The car scene's definitely awesome up here. I mean, second to like Los Angeles, I would say it's probably number 2 on the West Coast. Someone's gonna get all defensive about that. They're gonna live in like San Jose or something. Sorry if anyone lives in San Jose. Nismo Legend asked, when will we get another vlog on the S14? So the next things to do on the S14, I talked a little bit about in this video. Whenever that car goes off to Epitome Auto Design, I'll have a video on that. And then there's one more video I want to do getting the interior all finalized, but I'm waiting on some parts that were back ordered for that. So that's kind of up in the air. I would say we should have another S14 video within a month here. Ash D. Cox asked, what is ice blasting? Oh, good point. Some of you may not know what dry ice blasting is that I was talking about on the Legacy. So dry ice blasting uses compressed air to blast like little bits of dry ice, like pellets, at the car. And so if you've ever seen people remove like sound deadening with dry ice, it's kind of a similar effect. So it's freezing the dirt particles and all the contaminants that are on the bottom of the car and actually pulling that off. I have a good photo here of a before and after that Vin from Hoonigan posted on his Instagram. I'll put those up on the screen just so you can kind of see, but it's literally gonna make the car look brand new underneath before we put all the new suspension parts on. All right, you guys, that's gonna wrap up this week's video. If you have any questions on any of the cars in the garage or projects going on, drop them in the comment section down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. We are getting back to the weekly content. I'm just feeling like so re-energized and committed to the goal with this channel, and really excited for what's to come. There's been a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that you guys haven't seen that you'll hear about soon, and we're gonna really start rolling on some projects here, get the 240 moving along, get the suspension done on the wagon, and dial this thing in a little bit more to be an even better kind of daily, driver drift car that you can drive to the track and enjoy for a weekend and drive at home. We've got a lot of awesome stuff coming up. I'm super excited. Thank you as always for watching. If you're not already, hit that subscribe button down below. You definitely don't want to miss what we've got coming up on the channel.